Okay, so we've identified like a bunch of the problems. Now, how do you fix it? What's next? Because here's a few ideas, and I want you to rate them. Ben Miller, listener of the show, follower of both of us, he suggested that you draw a straight line for the 3-point line at the top of the key. So
I don't know.
Like, that would be pretty entertaining, like, because Curry could make the corner threes, and like some of these other shooters might be able to make them, but it kind of opens up down low for more kind of driving to the basket, mid range.
It's too much. I think getting rid of the corner three, that's intriguing, or making the court in such a way as it's the same distance all the way around, and then outside the 3-point line, allow hand checking. I think that would be something people would be into. I think you could do an ad campaign around it. It could be funny. You could have Draymond Green so excited to show up to work that day, and it's because of the new hand checking outside the 3-point line. That makes whatever you're doing under the 3-point line perhaps a more appealing option. It makes the defense rugged outside of the 3-point line. I'm not saying that's the total fix here, but in a way, the NBA, they're almost acknowledging the problem just by trying something that's not one of their goofball wackadoodle schemes with the Elam ending or whatever they're doing with the All-Star. They don't understand.
These games are terrible with all the timeouts and free throws, and I don't know, they take forever. The reviews take forever. What about some type of mechanism where you're allowed, 25 3-point attempts per team per game, and you have to use strategy about when and who takes them?
I don't think you can do that. I don't think you need something more creative. You hit a certain amount of threes, and then Greg Popovich from his hospital bed has to apologize to Donald Trump, and they just knock it all out all at once simultaneously. No, I like my idea because I'm biased towards myself. Your ideas might work, but in a way, what screwed them is they're doing too much. The Adam Silver regime is defined by doing too much. There's always a new idea. There's a mid-season tournament. There's a new way to do the All-Star team. They're picking sides like pickup teams. I haven't even looked into what they're doing this time with All-Star because the fundamental problem is they can't just get the guys to try.
And there's nothing they can do to get them to try. We talked about this before. Like, at the All-Star weekend, Larry Bird begged them to try. Adam Silver was like, this time they're gonna try. Nope, it's just a layup line. They maybe our guy Nate Jones is like, well, they're just every second morsel of the weekend, they're drawn to these events and parties and brand requirements. And by the time the game comes around, they're exhausted. Figure out a way to make them try in the damn All-Star game. Or don't have it. But the way it is absurd.
Well, there's no exercise of soft power by the commissioner. And whether it's getting people to maybe talk not as much politics, and perhaps it's difficult when you're dealing with a senior citizen coach who's won 5 championships and doesn't care. But I think there is a sense that if he didn't do David Stern's bidding, he would exact his revenge. And I don't know how many of those stories were true. I don't know if people were right to fear a certain unfairness that would never be copped to, but there was this sense that if I didn't do what David Stern wanted me to do, well, the referees are given these suggestion videos of what to call during a playoff series, right? Let's say you're going up against Shaq and you've been complaining that you as a small market aren't really getting the whistle. And maybe, just maybe, the suggestion videos for the refs that week for your playoff series are going to be about all the foul calls against Shaq that are not getting called typically. And that's really a point of emphasis for this playoff series that they really need to be made aware of. There was a sense that David Stern would screw you over, and you needed to do what he wanted. And if it wasn't implicit, sometimes it was explicit. Like when he fined the San Antonio Spurs big money for doing that rest day for one of the nationally televised games. Silver does not have the stomach for it. And
yeah, and every time
somehow,
there's like investigation, the team gets fined like $100,000 or something, which is like ashtray money for them, and it's
yeah.
like almost like worse than no punishment. It's like a comically low, fine.
Well, this is a deep thing because we often have these informal rules that mean a lot to us. And it's not even explicit, it's just what you would expect as a matter of course. And when that stops, I don't know if you can just patch it back together once you get rid of the sense that you try in an all-star game. Because, yeah, you're not trying full tilt, but you do want to win at the end. Once you get rid of that, I don't know how you just get that back. And then when it happens to the regular season, I don't know how you just get that back. And the NBA it's in this fascinating circumstance because they signed the big deal. Adam Silver is a stunning success when it comes to making owners happy, when it comes to getting money for the league. But now that money has locked them in this strange situation where the product's crashing culturally. The players are going to get paid $100 million to be guys you never really heard of who are intermittently trying. And it's all becoming this crescendo of decadence that the public is tuning out from. It's just, I don't know how you unwind it all. I like that there's pressure on them to try, though.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it either. They're gonna have to fix the game itself. It can't just be this never-ending barrage of missed three-pointers. And I think it's going to benefit when LeBron cycles out. And there's a new kind of like, Curry's getting up there in age too. Maybe like we can see these alphas compete for who gets to be the face of the league after those two are gone. And it creates some type of just sense that these guys are dogs competing against each other. Because that's what you
want
get
them to care
in football and even baseball, where there's like a sense that they just want to win the most. And I don't really get that in the NBA. No. You use the word intermittently trying, and maybe they're just so graceful and athletic that it like doesn't look like they're trying because they're just so talented. But I don't see on their face this like huge disappointment with losing.
I don't see that either. They might have that, but you wonder, I want to know, why does Luka keep showing up fat? It's strange to me. I get when I get fat, it makes sense. I don't have much reason not to be beyond my own health consideration, but one would think that a world-class athlete surrounded by people trying to make him as fit as possible would have that kind of commitment, but it comes and it goes. It does come and go also for Jokic. And hey, Jokic has won a championship, so maybe you can't really question. And Luka has been to the finals, so maybe you can't really question. I don't know. I'm not sure. Giannis seems driven. Your Giannis, your Bucks. Congrats on the Emirates Cup that you won, Ryan. He seems fairly driven, but there's always drama over there in Milwaukee. And the parity, I don't think, is helping matters. A lot of what's been tried to shake up the NBA snow globe might have sounded good in theory, but I don't think it is.
There's also a weird thing where it was like supposed to prevent these like big market super teams, and then you have the Timberwolves come along and the murky ownership situation, and they have to trade Karl Anthony Towns to the Knicks, making the Knicks better and the Wolves worse because they don't want to pay the luxury tax. And so is this going to happen in Memphis and Oklahoma City with their rosters?
Happened in Denver. Denver, they broke up the team. I think we wanted continuity and familiarity, and so much of what's happened, it just feels like Adam Silver is a Martian who doesn't understand people, and he's always over interpreting some sort of idea that he's been given and going, well, you like this. Oh, you like, people like scoring. People like scoring. People like points. People like threes. Let's make it as easy as possible to do that. I don't know why the Martian is a robot, but he didn't understand that 150 to 145 that's not what people wanted. That's not what they're into. And it took a while for them to figure it out. And then they changed the reffing mid-season. I think it was kind of successful.